Have you ever felt like setting boundaries with a man makes you seem difficult or demanding? Like if you say no, you might scare him away? Well, here's the truth that 90% of women miss. A healthy masculine man does not want a woman who is a doormat. He craves a woman who has high energetic standards. And if you are afraid to set those boundaries, you are actually operating from a wounded feminine energy or the energy of fear and scarcity. Today, I'm going to show you 5 specific feminine boundaries that don't require big arguments or ultimatums. They are energetic shifts that trigger his instinct to claim you, cherish you, and commit to you. And the best part? You don't have to chase anyone, darling. You just have to be. Hi, my name is Amanda. Welcome to this channel where we talk about how to manifest what you want in life without all the extra stress, chaos, and drama that most people are accustomed to. Lately, we've been talking a lot about nervous system regulation, feminine energy, masculine energy, relationship dynamics, how to communicate effectively from feminine energy, and so much more. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we have coming out on this channel. Most of the content is based on my 15 years of experience coaching women in different areas of their lives and also completely transforming my own life once I understood nervous system safety and living from a place of feminine energy. I went from being perpetually single, hyper independent, stressed out, adrenal fatigue, hormones upside down, and really just stressed out constantly all the time to in 4 months manifesting my masculine provider protector husband, making dreams of living abroad come true, creating different careers that allow for more passive income or more fun ways of making money. And yes, I even regulated my hormones after not being able to do it for about 15 years. So if that's something you're interested, like I said, make sure to subscribe. Also give it a like because it helps us get it in front of more women. And if you want to go deeper into some of the content, maybe you're newer on this feminine energy journey, then make sure to download our free Enhance Your Feminine Energy guide below because it'll show you how to start using feminine energy in different areas of your life, from relationships to money to health and so much more. So let's talk about these 5 energetic boundaries that make men fall in love with you. First, we need to redefine what a boundary is. So a boundary is not a wall that you build to keep love out. This is what I used to do, right? So I was very hyper independent. I had boundaries, but really what I had done is I had built walls instead of like a fence or a gate that I can open and close. A boundary is simply where you end and he begins. That's it. And when you lack boundaries, you basically what ends up happening is that you will merge with another person. So you become anxious, you overgive, and then that pushes healthy masculine men away because there's no you left for him to pursue. So today what we're going to do is we're going to begin reclaiming that energy. So boundary number 1 is the availability boundary. This is the prize mindset. And by the way, married women, you need to learn how to do this too. So the first boundary is around your time and your availability. So when a woman is in her wounded state, what I call the wounded maiden, she clears out her whole schedule the moment that he texts. She wants to be easygoing. But a high value woman knows her time and her energy are actually her most precious assets. So the boundary, and this is if you're dating, right, is don't be available 24/7. And even if you're married, do not be available 24/7. Have your own things going on. So the way that you apply it is if he asks you out last minute and you have plans, even if those plans are you at home with your cat and a book, you honor those plans. You say, I'd love to see you, but I already have plans tonight. That's it. The reason why this works is because you're not playing hard to get. You actually are hard to get because you are busy loving and living your life. This is something that I talk a lot about in the High Value Woman Transformation Program, which you can find the information for and sign up below. It's one of our best-selling programs. And it also signals to his masculine energy that he needs to plan and compete for your attention. And when a man feels like he needs to compete for your attention, he's going to move toward you a whole lot more. And when you're married, you still need to find ways to do this because what happens with a lot of women, pardon my being crude and crass when I say this, but you're constantly crawling up your husband's hole all the time. And you're nagging or you're always with him or this or that. We've all done it, by the way. So what I tell a lot of married women to do is like have your own life. So for example, for me, this YouTube channel and this business, this is a part of me having my own life. This is something that I get to nurture. This is something that I get to build. This is something that I get to pour into. And it also just so happens to create time constraints where I'm not available all the time, which then makes my husband more attracted to me because he realizes like, oh, there's a little there's a gap, which is what I call it, right? So this is when you create a little bit of distance, and then that distance creates attraction. And that's something that I go more deep into the psychology of that in the Feminine Magnetism Mastery Program, which you can also find the information for that below. So boundary number 2 is the therapist boundary. And this is about staying in feeling mode. So this is when a woman has to learn to stop the emotional labor. And we've all had to do this at some point. Because you have to remember that a lot of men have not had good examples of healthy masculine behavior. So a lot of women are the ones who sometimes have to stop the emotional labor. Although I have noticed that when a man is healthy in his masculine energy, he may just be talking things out with you because he too is totally confused by a lot of the societal programming that's out there. So for example, there's been a lot of societal programming for a long time about women saying, oh, he just needs to be more sensitive. I wish he was more sensitive. I wish he was more aware of his emotions. But then what ends up happening is when a man becomes overly into his emotions and starts talking to you about them too much, because there is a too much, women immediately get turned off by it. And it makes a lot of sense because we're looking to the men to be strong. And also, healthy masculine men do not process their emotions by treating you like a therapist. They do it in completely different ways, and I've done other videos about that. But the thing to keep in mind here is that you need to set a boundary around emotional labor. So many of us fall into the trap of trying to fix a man and listen to his problems for hours or coach him through his life. We've all freaking done it at some point. And a big part of the reason why is because we as women have a lot of nurturing energy. So this is actually why I was like, let me go start a new YouTube channel and a new business so I can go nurture that. Have plants, have pets, right? And go nurture those things instead of coaching your husband. And for those of us who, for example, our profession is literally coaching or being a therapist or those kinds of things, sometimes it's extra hard for us to turn this thing off because we're constantly in this space. So that's why I'm like, please go have your own projects so you do not coach your man. Do not coach your man. But anyway, what ends up happening is when we're doing that, right, we are more in masculine energy. It's mother energy. So like I said, sometimes the man is going to be dumping his emotions on you because he too has gotten very conflicting information. And he thinks now that he's supposed to do that in order to be more sensitive or whatever. Or perhaps he did not have healthy examples of healthy masculine energy growing up, which is unfortunately very common these days, depending on, what country and culture you're from and stuff like that. And women, because we're so nurturing, sometimes like we'll end up doing it without him even prompting it because we want to like nurture stuff, which get a plant if you want to nurture something. So the boundary here is you are his lover, not his therapist. The way that you apply it is when he starts dumping heavy emotional baggage early on, or he asks you to solve his problems, you step back. You can be supportive without taking it on. And quite frankly, I think there's a lot of men out here who are also confused about this, where they expect women to do like actual physical or emotional labor, and that's support. But that's not really what support is in the feminine, and healthy masculine men know that. Healthy masculine men know that the way healthy feminine women support is by having confidence in their man. So that sounds like, I have full faith that you will figure this out, and you gently change the subject to something lighter, or you just send them on their merry way. I've done that, right? I've coached a lot of women to do this, and again, I've had to be really careful about this, particularly calling myself out because I have been coaching for 15 years. So I really, really have to be careful about this. And those of you who are in service professions, you just be very careful about this. So essentially what that does is when you set that boundary and you express your confidence in him to go figure out the problem himself, It keeps you in your receiving energy, and it forces him to step up into his own masculine problem-solving power. And guess what happens? Men build confidence by overcoming challenges and solving problems. They actually become more masculine when they do it. It is wired in them, and I cover that in the Feminine Magnetism Mastery program. I go deeper into the psychology of that. So boundary number 3 is the investment boundary. So this is about reciprocity. Those of you who are dating, I really need you to understand this one because it is crucial. Never give wife benefits to a boyfriend, and definitely don't ever give them to a situationship, because feminine energy is all about receiving. So if you're cooking, cleaning, and managing his life before he's committed anything to you, you're actually operating in reverse, and you're setting yourself up for failure because you are over delivering in order to earn love. So to give you an idea, and we've talked about this on the channel, and it turned into a huge joke between my husband and I know how to cook. I may have made my husband believe while we were dating that I did not know how to cook because I was not about to cook for a boyfriend. I wasn't about to do it. Now, once we were fiancé and getting married and all that kind of stuff, then things obviously started to shift a little bit. And then I started cooking, and he was like in shock because he thought the whole time that I didn't know how to cook. We've talked about this, but the reason why I did that is because I didn't want to go into a relationship operating in reverse. Absolutely not. And then what happens, another thing women need to understand here is that even good men will do what I'm about to say. And this might trigger a lot of people. Men will see you as a convenience, right? They will keep you around because you are convenient. If you are convenient, and I've done other videos about this, too convenient, especially when you're not committed, they will not actually commit. They'll be like, oh, I like her company. Oh, I like that she cooks for me. Oh, I like that she cleans for me. But girl, you will never get the ring because you have become convenient. And even good men will use feminine energy in that way. They will do it if you become too convenient to them. I've done other videos about this where literally men in the comments have been in the video saying, thank you for explaining this to women. I'm having my daughter watch this, right? So the boundary here is you want to match his investment. Here's how to apply it. Ladies, if you're dating, please, please, please listen to this. If he texts, you text. If he calls, you call. If he plans the dates, good for him. But you do not lead. You lean back. If he stops rowing the boat, you do not pick up the oars. You let the boat stop. You let the boat stall. And this is actually the scariest boundary, especially for women who are in the dating stages and they're not committed yet, but it's the only one that's going to reveal if he's actually a healthy masculine man. Now, boundary number 4 is the verbal abuse / disrespect boundary. This is the soft walk away. So what do you do when he is disrespectful, raises his voice, or he's inconsistent? Well, the wounded feminine, she's going to fight. She screams, she cries, she tries to explain why she deserves respect. A masculine woman, she'll argue to the death is what she will do. But the divine feminine simply removes her presence. That's all she does. She just walks away because she understands that access to her is a privilege. So here's how to apply it. If the energy gets toxic, you don't fight. You say, I don't speak to people that way, and I don't accept being spoken to that way. I'm going to go now. And you leave, you hang up, you walk away. Because the silence is loud, and your absence teaches him more than your words ever will. And a side effect is that the absence also creates attraction, but I'm not going into that right now. Boundary number 5 is the mental boundary. So this is probably the most important one because a lot of women don't realize the power that they have in between their 2 ears. So this is the boundary that you set in your own mind, and here is how you apply it. You must set boundaries against thoughts that say you are unworthy, second best, unlovable, not pretty enough, too fat, no one ever wants you, you're too old, etc., 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 etc. I've heard it all from the women in the comment section and in my emails. Because what happens is when that doubt starts to creep in, what if he leaves? You have to set a boundary with your own mind because you cannot serve 2 masters. This is when you say, no, I don't entertain that story. I am the prize. I am chosen. I am worthy of great love. And you must mentally reject any scenario where you are not in a position where you are being cherished and loved and by a man where he is devoted to you. Because your outer reality is going to shift to match your inner boundary. This is, I think it was in the Bible. I was reading a book about this. I forgot which one it was, but there's a line in the Bible that's like, "Get behind me, Satan." And, it's turned into a meme and a joke. That's basically what it's about. It's setting those mental and energetic boundaries within yourself, because that is actually going to create your reality. There are way too many of you who watch this YouTube channel and you're like, it's never going to happen for me. It's never going to be easy for me. I've had all these horrible things happen to me. They're going to keep happening to me. It's going to take forever for me. I only attract narcissistic people. I only attract abusers. Well, if you keep saying that, then yeah, that's what's going to continue being your reality. So you have to have one of these "get behind me, Satan" moments every time that starts to happen. So remember, boundaries are an act of self-love. And when you hold those standards, the wrong men are going to fall away, and you are going to want them to fall away, because then you're making space for the masculine man who wants to rise to meet you. And if you're ready to stop chasing and start attracting, then make sure you subscribe and hit the bell, and let me know in the comments which of these 5 boundaries is the hardest one for you to set. I'll tell you which one's the hardest one for me. The hardest one for me is sometimes the mental one. That's the one that was hardest for me for 15 years. That was the hardest one. But let me know in the comments which one's the hardest one for you, and let's support each other below. Thank you so much for giving me your time today. Make sure to download your free Enhance Your Feminine Energy Guide if you haven't done so yet. You can also check out all the other resources that we have available in the description, and I will catch you on the next one.